In this experiment, we'll be discussing low pass and high pass RC filters. So, what an RC filter is basically a resistor and a capacitor connected in series. So, in the function of the RC filter is basically to block a certain frequency of current and pass some other frequency. So, the low pass filter passes low frequencies and only stops the higher frequencies of current, whereas the high pass filter passes higher frequencies and it stops the lower frequencies. So we all know that the capacitor provides a resistance which is called the capacitive reactance to the circuit, and capacitive reactance is given by 1 by omega c, right? So when the DC voltage is passed, the capacitive reactance is essentially infinite. So there's no current passing through the capacitor, so it acts like a resistor. But at lower frequencies, this reactance is really high because of the inverse relation. Whereas at higher frequencies, this reactance is very low. And we use this principle in both the filters by connecting the capacitor across. So in the low pass circuit, the output is taken across the capacitor, which is channel 2 is taken across the capacitor, and this causes the output signal to be much stronger for low frequencies. For the same reason, because omega is inversely proportional to C. So the frequency will be inversely proportional so that whenever XC is higher, the frequency is lower, so that the output has higher voltage for lower frequencies, which is why you can see that the pass band is seen for a lower frequency in the low pass. Whereas in the high pass circuit, we will have the output across the resistor. And this is because at lower frequencies, the capacitor blocks the current so that most of the voltage is seen across the output. Whereas for higher frequencies, this is not true. Okay, now about how to use the CRO. So basically, this is where you will see the waveform. This is the power button. This magnifies it by 10 times, but we don't use that. It's usually just 1x. This is for channel 1 and channel 2. So right now it's at channel 1 because the button is outside. When I press it and it goes in, that's channel 2. And that is to view them separately. This is if you want to view both of them together. So you can see both together also, but we don't usually use that. So this is mono. Then this is to shift the x-axis of the graph. This is to shift channel 1 along the y-axis, and I'll change it to channel 2. This is to shift channel 2 along the y-axis, and this screen basically tells you how many volts each division represents. Sorry, each 5 divisions represents. So from this 0 to the first edge of the square, you can see there's 5 divisions in the screen. Now because channel 1 is at channel 1 is at 1 volts, so the first 5 divisions represents 1 volt as the reading. And similarly for channel 2 also, because it's at 1 volt, each square represents 1 voltage of reading. And then this can be changed using this blue dial. So if I reduce the thing to 0.5, it will be a bigger graph, but then when I make it 1 volt, it comes back to as it was. And if I made it 0.5, each square of 5 divisions will represent 0.5 volts, and so on. So depending on how it's convenient, you can change this, but then while taking the readings, you have to make sure to multiply the scale appropriately so that it doesn't go wrong. And similarly, this one does the same thing for channel 2, like that. And then this time per division is to change the wavelength of the wave. So as I am reducing it, the wavelength gets bigger, and you can keep it however it's convenient to use.
Okay, so now we'll be doing the circuit for the low pass. Now initially we can start with the initial circuit where we will have the generator, the resistor and the capacitor. Now that is the initial circle of the circuit. It's easier if we first do this line and then we connect the CRO accordingly. So first we'll take the generator. Now the positive end is connected to one end of the resistor and the negative is connected to the low end of the capacitor. Now we'll do that. So red is always positive. That is connected to this end of the resistor, and the negative is connected to the low pass of the capacitor. Now you have to be very specific about high pass and low pass. If you switch it up, you won't get the output, and nor will the input be taken. Now the resistor and the high pass of the capacitor must be connected. For that you can use a crocodile and banana clip. Now we will connect it. Okay, now your initial circuit is done, and now we will connect the channel 1 and channel 2. Now here, channel 1 is basically connected between the one end of the resistor and the low pass of the capacitor. Now this is channel 1. Now the positive goes to the resistor, and the negative goes to the low pass of the capacitor. Now this is your channel 1. Channel 2 is connected parallel, and it's connected across the capacitor. Now this one, the positive goes to the high pass of the capacitor, and the negative goes to the low pass of the capacitor.
So now I'll be talking about how to take readings for the low pass filter, which is the first part. So basically we have set it up like this, and what we're expecting is that the first few frequencies at low frequency, for the first few low frequencies, the gain of the voltage will be maximum. That is where the current will be allowed to pass through the circuit for lower frequencies. And then as the frequency gets higher along the x-axis, you'll see that the gain is dropping because it's blocking the current from flowing through the circuit. That's what the low pass filter does. So what we have to do first is, so here it says calculate the resistance. So you have to calculate the resistance using this, which is R equals 1 by 2 pi FC. This comes from the formula for capacitance, which is so this R is basically XC, the capacitive reactance, which is 1 by omega C. So using that, you can basically calculate the resistance required and take that much resistance out of the box. And then when you're taking the readings, the first thing you have to do is you have to set the input to 2 volts peak to peak. Input is basically channel 1, whereas output is channel 2. So I've set it to channel 1 now, and you can see it is not 2 volts from peak to peak. So I'll just shift it, and you can see that. So basically from one peak to the other, the wave's amplitude should be 1 volt or 2 volts from one peak to the other peak. So for that, what we have to do is you have to increase the amplitude on the signal generator. So when I do that and shift this, I should fit within this. This is provided you keep channel 1 and channel 1 as 1 volt in the oscilloscope. So now that it's set to 2 volts peak to peak, we can start taking readings. Okay, so for the low pass, while taking the readings, what we have to keep in mind is that while drawing the graph, we need to make sure that this pass band is significantly seen in the graph. So for that, we have to start with a very low frequency. So in your labs, you might have started with 1 kilohertz, but then actually 100 hertz is more ideal, so that we can actually show this pass band before showing the stop. So what we have to do is start with 100 ohms on the signal generator. So I'll change the range and make it 0.1 kilohertz. So for 0.1, it's still peak to peak 2 volts, but because the wavelength is very large, you can't really see it, but you can still take peak to peak as 2 volts on channel 1. Then you can so you have to basically note that down here as V in for frequency of 0.1, and then you can see the channel 2 reading, which is going to be similar, and you can shift it along the x-axis and note it down again. So that will also be 2. And then gain is basically the output divided by the input, which was the gain of voltage. Then you have to continue the same for 200. So you can see that the waveform changed, and so you can approximately say that this is again 2 volts peak to peak. This is channel 2. If I change it back to channel 1, it will be somewhat the same. So the point here is that from this point to up to 1 kilohertz, the voltage input and output will be nearly constant, or actually constant in my case, depends. So then what you have to do is just keep noting it from 1 kilohertz to 100 hertz to 1 kilohertz. So I'm skipping over all these parts because it's going to be constant, like I said. So we can directly go to 1 kilohertz. Okay, so now the waveform will be different, but you can see that it's still 2 volts peak to peak in channel 1, and the same for channel 2. So now we can proceed with 2 kilohertz, which I'm changing on the left side. And so basically, as you keep increasing the frequency beyond 1 kilohertz, this input voltage value will gradually drop, but then the output voltage will immediately start dropping down. So now I'll leave it at channel 2 and I'll keep reducing the frequency to give you, increasing the frequency to give an idea of how the value of V drops as you increase the frequency. So we have to repeat the same process up to 40 kilohertz. It doesn't have to be 40, but then it depends on how you're taking the readings. But by the time we get to 40 kilohertz, you can see that the output voltage has gone down to 0.2 kilohertz. 0.2 volts, like I said, that it'll drop. So for all of them, you have to calculate the gain, and that's it for low pass.
Now we will be doing the circuit for the high pass filter. Now initially how we did the primary circuit of resistor and capacitor, now we will have to swap the position of the capacitor and the resistor. Now initially you think that you can just take out the wires from here and swap it, but that doesn't actually work, because here the capacitor, high pass and low pass, it kind of alters. So we'll start from the beginning. Now here the positive end of the AC generator will go to the high pass of the capacitor. Let's connect that. And the negative end will go to the other end of the resistor. Okay. And now the capacitor and resistor need to be connected. Now we have to connect the low pass of the capacitor to the to one end of the resistor. Okay. Now your initial circuit is done, and now we will connect the channels. Now channel 1, the positive of channel 1 goes to the high pass of the capacitor, and the negative of channel 1 goes to the other end of the resistor. Now channel 1 is done. Now channel 2, again, it goes across the resistor. So here the positive goes to one end of the resistor and the negative goes to the other end of the resistor. Okay. And this is your entire circuit.
Okay, so now we will be taking readings for the high pass filter. So basically, it's once we're done setting up the circuit, you can either start with 0.6, which is the lowest frequency we'll be taking, like basically a low frequency, or you can start with the highest frequency you're planning to take readings for, which is 60 kilohertz in my table, and you can go down. So you have to keep in mind that we're using a semi-log graph to plot our observations. So it would be really useful later on while plotting the graph if you reduce it by steps of 10. So you start with 60 kilohertz. You can start from the bottom also, it doesn't matter. So you start with 60 kilohertz, then 50, 40, 30, up to 10, and then you can go. So basically why we're doing this is because this is a high pass filter, right? So the higher frequencies will be passed and the lower frequencies will be stopped. So why we're taking readings from 60 to 10 is to show that it's almost constant until it starts dropping at around 20 kilohertz. So ideally you should be taking more than 60 also. So what you have to do is you have to check where it passes and where it stops beforehand, so that you get the best graph out of your readings. But then since I've taken readings from 60, I'll be showing it the same way. If you want, you can take readings above 60 also. You can start with like 100 kilohertz or 80 kilohertz for a better graph. So anyway, we start with a high frequency and we take the input voltage reading. For me it was 2 volts, but then here it says 1.6. That's okay, it's different for different apparatus. So then this is channel 1. For channel 2 you can see it's almost the same, and you have to note that down in the table for output, and then you can calculate the gain in the same way. Then I'm going to, so this was 60 kilohertz, and you can keep reducing the frequency to see so this is 50, and you can see the changes in the voltage. So from 60 to around 20 it won't change much, but then it will start dropping because the current will be blocked. So so I'll go directly to 20 kilohertz. So this is 30, and now we'll go to 20 kilohertz. So from peak to peak, this is still the same. It's almost the same. Like I said, it's different for different apparatus. So let's try with 10 kilohertz now. So this is 10, and it's still the same. So we can start with 10 and then reduce it by 1 kilohertz each time. So up to now we were reducing it by 10 kilohertz. Now I'll change it to 9. This is 9 kilohertz. And you take the readings. So the reason why it wasn't changing was because this was at channel 1. When you change it back to channel 2, you can see that for 9 kilohertz, this is 9 kilohertz, the peak to peak voltage is now 1.4. So you note that down in the table, and then you can change the frequency to 8 kilohertz. So this is 8, and once again you can see that it's slightly dropped, and you have to make changes accordingly and write it in the table. Then similarly we'll repeat it for 7, 6, 5 up to 1 kilohertz, and then you can drop it by 0.2 because you want to see the small changes also, and also because it's a semi-log graph like I said. So from here to here you can plot the changes more clearly in the graph. So basically by the time you reach 0.2 kilohertz, so this is 1 kilohertz. So by the time you reach 0.2, it goes down to almost 0, which is what we are expecting. So here it was 0.1, but again, like I said, different apparatus, different readings, and basically your output voltage will drop down to 0 by the end of the lower frequencies. So for the low pass filters graph, you'll be plotting the gain on the y-axis and the frequency on the x-axis. The x-axis is a semi-log graph scale. So you will start with, so in my readings, the readings start with 0.1 kilohertz, which is 100 hertz. So our graph will also start with 0.1. The first 10 divisions will correspond to 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and so on up to 1 kilohertz. Then from 1 we scale up to 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10 kilohertz at the 10th division. Then from 10 we scale up to 100. Now when you're plotting a semi-log graph, it's very important that these number markings are taken on the top of the page, and the y-axis should start with the more spaced out boxes, because this is the right method to plot a semi-log graph to get the most accurate graph. Otherwise your graph will not be correct, and the spacing between the points will not correspond to a logarithmic scale, and then your graph is just wrong. And we have to repeat the same process for the high pass filter, where you will plot the frequency on the x-axis on top with the markings on top, and the gain on the y-axis on the left side. And the low pass graph, you're supposed to get a flat or constant looking line for the lower frequencies, and it suddenly drops down when you reach a higher frequency. Whereas in the high pass graph, there will be a drop in the lower frequency region, and then you see that it's a constant gain for the higher frequencies. That's all there is to the graph. Now using this graph, you can even from your tabular column you can see what your maximum gain value is, which will be 1, because input and output will be equal. In this case 2 volts and 2 volts, so 2 by 2 gives 1. So that's your A max, or maximum gain. And then you divide that by root 2 to get the FC. So when you divide maximum gain by root 2, you have to find out that value. It'll be 0.707 or 70.7% of the maximum current, and sorry, voltage. And that 0.707 line you have to extend from the y-axis to your graph, and the place where it cuts the graph you have to find what the frequency is, and that is what your FC will be. So theoretically FC is given by 1 by 2 pi RC, and from the both the graphs your FC value should be as close as possible to that, and that is our result as well. So FC by calculation is 9.95 kilohertz, and FC from both of the graphs is approximately 10 kilohertz, which means that our experiment was accurate and correct.